guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jules, commonly known as Jules. On this channel we love to talk about books, literature, development, and a sprinkle of other things here and there. So if that sounds like your cup of tea, feel free to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, share it with your friends, and let's go. I apologize for this lighting. I'm shooting this video like extremely early in the morning, just before work. Benefits of working from home, but I was just so excited after I finished reading this book, which you've already seen in the title, and wanted to shoot my thoughts on it before I forget anything. So I do apologize if the lighting is too dark. I will try switching on the lights, but then it will be too bright, I think. So let's continue. I have been reading fantasy a long time, but of late I've been in a bit of a fantasy slump. I didn't even manage to read the last two books that we read in our fantasy book club, partly because of adulting and life, but also just struggling to get into books. If you read fantasy, you know that sometimes there's books that are good and interesting, but maybe the first few pages with the world building and whatnot can be a bit complicated, and if you're not careful you might not be able to read the book. Another reason I've also been in that slump-ish is because I've said it on this channel before, I find it very difficult to read ebooks because my eyes hurt. But yeah, so I think by the time you're seeing this, it will be exactly 1 week after I finished reading the book. So this is Tuesday. On Sunday, I started reading this book, Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. This book has been on my shelf for about 3 months. I just got it because I know this same author has her series Shadow and Bone on Netflix, which I'm yet to watch. And people really gave this series, this duology, praise. So I was like, let me just pick this book up and give it a try. And let me tell you something. I loved this book. I mean, I'm very late to the party because I think these books came out a while ago. Okay, it says here 2015. I don't know. I think they came out a while ago. So I'm definitely late to the party, but I loved this book. My goodness. So Six of Crows is basically, when I read it and got the hang of what was happening, I immediately thought it's like Ocean's 8 in fantasy form. I don't know if you've watched of Ocean's 8. It's the only Ocean's movie I've watched. I've not watched 11, 12, 13. I watched 8, I guess maybe because of the marketing, the all-female team, Sandra Bullock, Rihanna, Mindy Kaling. So I loved Ocean's 8, and that's kind of what I got from this book. So basically, Six of Crows is about a group of thieves, 6 of them, who are tasked to steal a man, from like the top prison of the area, one of the top prisons of the area. So basically our main character, the lead character in this book, is called Kaz. Kaz is a gangster. That's the best way I can say. He's a don. He kind of runs business, I don't know how to explain. He's a mafia or what? He's just a gangster whose his brother was unfortunately killed, his elder brother, and the person who killed the elder brother is still alive. So Kaz really has this need to avenge his brother and himself for how they were done wrong. And after reading the story, and they were done wrong. It was sad what happened to them. So there's Kaz, and in his crew there is Inej. Inej is what they call like a spider, but she's the queen spider. She's the wraith, I don't know how to pronounce it. So basically Inej is very stealthy, like she can move around without being heard. She blends into the shadows. So her job is to collect secrets from people, which in turn Kaz uses to gain money. Then there's Jesper. Jesper is a sharpshooter. He's very good with guns. Then there's Nina. Nina is a heart render. Basically, from what I understood, a heart render is someone who they can change your body. Like they can heal you, they can hurt you, they can raise your temperature, they can drop it, they can raise your heartbeat, they can drop it. So Nina is, people like that are considered Grisha. Jesper is also a Grisha. And then who else is in the crew? There's Wylan or Wilan. He is the son of the person who actually gives them the job. He can't read and write, but he's very good with chemicals and creating explosives. And then lastly, there's Matthias, who is he's from the kingdom where they're going to steal this person, so he had to be in the crew to, you know, give the layouts and whatnot. So that's the crew. They all are very different from each other, but they have to learn to work together and, you know, achieve this goal. What I loved about this book, I loved that this book was very well paced. Like the pace was moving quickly. There wasn't a part in the book I felt we're dilly-dallying. No, the book moves quite quickly at a very interesting pace. And what I will say is that this book is written in such a way that because these are 6 strangers that have been brought together, the book is written kind of in the present, but also we're given a backstory of each of the members and, you know, what they are fighting for. Because at the end of the day, if they succeed with this mission, they are promised a large amount of money. And for all of them, this money means something like freedom and just a better life. So they are fighting for that, and we're kind of shown the backstory of each member, but not like in a boring back in 19th George, no, not in that boring manner. It's just like a in the future, but then they kind of bring in their past to show you what's happening. So I really like that this book was well paced. Another thing that was a winner for me in this book is how it was written. Essentially, the characters in these books are teenagers, like 16, 17, but it wasn't written in that YA manner where like it now becomes some romance, like the romance even takes over the story, or in such a way that like the, you know, that teenage angst really is brought out. No, I didn't get that. Okay, there's a bit of places where people's emotions were obviously a lot, but I didn't get that. I don't know if that makes sense. Like there wasn't that overwhelming young adult nature to this book. In fact, like one of the only complaints I had with this book, and it's not even a complaint, it's just me, there was I kept experiencing like a dissonance in the sense that these characters are 17 and 16, like because they're so mature, they're behaving like adults. And I would read and then at some point I would be like, these are teenagers, and I'd be like, But you know, they say that if you're living in the streets, you grow up faster. I don't know. But basically what I'm trying to say is that I didn't find a lot of that teenage angst in this book. A lot of that romance guiding every decision here. There's a few characters who I can see it coming, especially now that I've started book 2, but I really love how Leigh wrote this book. I mean, I love it. I also enjoyed that the characters were all interesting. Like all the 6 characters I've mentioned, like that's the crew, but there's also some other characters, but they were all like interesting. Kaz is just those bad boys that you somehow really just end up liking. He's very ruthless. Inej is very mysterious and she really believes in her religion. Nina is kind of flirtatious and, just her. And then there's Jesper. I think there's something between Jesper and Wylan, which is being explored more in book 2. Matthias is a bit self-righteous, but he thaws out during the book. Like by the time it ends, he's had a character development. And guys, I love that the characters are all strongly brought out. I didn't feel like there was one character who was not written well enough. Maybe we could have gotten a bit more story on Wylan, but like the characters, they all have this depth to them. You kind of grow to like each and every one of them. The book has a lot of plot twists, and they're not done in an obnoxious way. they're done in if you've watched Ocean's 8, let's say, you see how there's always like a challenge and then there's a solution. Kaz is that person. Kaz is the Sandra Bullock in Ocean's 8. Like, he has thought the plan out over and over, and even when the plan gets a hitch, he has like a plan B. Even when people try to double cross him, he kind of has an idea and has something that he's mitigating. I really enjoyed that. Like, the plot twists was so good. Just when you think, oh, the plan is going well, oh no, something happens. They have to think on their feet. They have to, I don't know, it was just so good. And then it was also really good to see that Kaz, despite being the tough guy that he is, he also had feelings and he's trying to come to terms with them. Like, he doesn't outrightly show that he cares, but you can see in small actions that he does. And I'm hoping in book 2 that, you know, we see more of this. I'm shipping them. I don't want to spoil who it is. Last but not least, there was no unnecessary dialogue in this book. Again, I would say this is just one of the well-written YA books I've read in a long time, to be sincere. And it's a book that I would highly recommend. I read it in 2 days. That's pretty fast considering I'm an adult who works. So I read it pretty fast. I really enjoyed it, and I already started on book 2. As you can see, I started this yesterday. Immediately I finished reading this one, and I bet I'll be done by tomorrow. So yeah, this, the Six of Crows duology, I would highly recommend this book. I really loved it. I know maybe I've not given enough justice to the book. Concerning the magic system of this book, it's a bit complicated, but not too complicated really. There's different groups, different nations rather, and out of these nations, the Grisha are the ones with the power. So the Grisha being the ones with the power, we have some nations that really don't accept them because they think they're unnatural and they think that they shouldn't be in existence. So for example, we have a nation whose job is to hunt them down and kill them, but in the process we have a scientist who came up with a drug that over enhances the power of the Grisha, but the negative side is that it gets them addicted, and while they're able to perform supernatural things while on this drug, they won't survive long. So basically, the person who hired Kaz to go and break out the prisoner was the scientist who came up with this drug essentially, and they want to break him out so that he doesn't give this to other nations because it will cause a war. I don't think I can say more than that without spoiling the book, but basically the magic system is not complicated. It's just that there's different nations. Each nation has people of different characteristics, and that's used to identify them. But other than that, I loved it. I gave this book a 5-star. Initially, I thought to give it a 4.5, but I was like, no, I can't really say that something was very wrong with it. It warrants the 5-star, and I loved it. So guys, if you haven't yet, take a look at this book. I got my copies from Nuria bookshop, and yeah, if you use my code you can get 7% off, but in case you don't find it there, copies are also available at Educate Yourself bookshop. But if you've read this book, let me know your thoughts. Let me know who is your favorite character, because we need to talk. I mean, I loved it sincerely, and you know, I wouldn't be saying this if I didn't really enjoy the book. So let me get on with this other book. I'm sure I'll be finishing it soon, and by Friday when the next video is out, it will be a review of book 2. But that's all for today. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.